at night. And there's somebody home taking care of our 3 kids who are ages 4, 3, and 2. 24/7.
Have you figured out what happens, what causes that? Because no, we can help you with that.
Yeah.
4, 3, and 2. Now there's a handful.
Yeah, they came right one after the other. But I think everyone's circumstances are unique, and if you have to work to support your family, you have to work. I think the ideal situation, and I think most mothers would agree, is that a mother who is home full-time with her children, especially in those tender years, from birth until the time they go off to kindergarten or first grade, are crucial. And I think a lot of mothers regret, working mothers regret, having to put their children into the hands of daycare.
Well, let's ask the people at home that very question. If you have a choice, and we're not talking about those of you who are single parents or those who absolutely have to work to put a meal on the table at night, if you have a choice, do you think you should stay at home and raise your children, or should you be able to balance? Should you be able to work and raise kids at the same time? If you want to join in and tell us what you think, go ahead and give us a call. Let's take a look at some of the statistics that we were able to compile for you to give you a comparison of how many women stay at home with their children. Now, judging by this survey, 39.8% of moms work full-time, 34% of moms work part-time, and 25% of moms are not employed outside the home. This is a significant difference from what we have seen in the last 2 decades. Colleen, what do you think this is telling us? That women finally, after years and years of hearing we can do it all, are finally realizing maybe it's a little bit tougher than we expected?
Well, I think it's an absolute myth that you can do it all. I think you can't, and you end up being very frustrated and not knowing where to turn. And I think a lot of women think that they are alone in this experience, when really it's pretty universal. Let's face it, the emperor has no clothes. Women cannot do it all, and you have to choose. You really have to choose one or the other, and I think everything kind of suffers.
Is it easy to be at home for those of you who are home? Shelley, is it a piece of cake, as sometimes people think?
Anyone who spent a day home with their kids by themselves, no, it's not an easy decision for anyone to make on a permanent basis. I think the question, though, is why is it that women can't have it all? Why is it that we can't work and be home with our kids? Why is it that we're being forced to make a decision between the two?
Well, isn't the answer, though, sometimes within ourselves? I said at the opening of the show, I mean, when you're at work, you're thinking, oh, I should be home sharing those little moments with the kids, but then when you're at home, you're like, oh, I had an opportunity to make a lot of money, or I worked a long time to get where I was, and you feel guilty about that. Isn't it within our own heads that we really have the conflict?
I think it's within our own heads, but I think the idea is put there by society in general, and that any woman who wants to work is looked upon as a career-crazed mom who doesn't want to spend time with her kids, when that's not the case. And just because you want to spend some time outside the home pursuing the goals that you had for yourself before you had children doesn't mean that you shouldn't be allowed to do so because you're a mother now.
JD, I knew that, I'm sorry, Colleen, but JD wrote a column that really got a lot of people's ire up, because he was talking about these moms who are at home but still choose to put their kids in daycare so that they could have some me time, and that really bothers you. Why?
Well, because I think, as a father of 3 toddlers, I know that the kids want to spend time with their parents, not being raised by daycare strangers. And there are women, it's a stealth subculture in the affluent suburbs, at least in Bucks County, where women who stay at home full-time still deposit their kids on the daycare doorstep, 2, 3, 4, 5 mornings a week for, half a day, sometimes 6 hours a day, while they go off to the Newtown Athletic Club or Starbucks to sip lattes.
And you were telling them that if they were going to preschool, how is that any different? It's still the same type of learning environment. I mean, how is that a different
Yeah, but
situation?
we're talking children as young as 6 weeks old
that are being dropped off at
Yes.
daycare for days at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think everyone's.
I don't have a problem with preschool. My 4-year-old is in half-day preschool, but when you have children who are 1, 2, and 3, and you have full-time stay-at-home moms who are saying, "Well, I'm putting my child in daycare to learn social skills, to learn numbers and colors." I mean, how much social skills does a baby need, really?
That's what I was going to ask you, though. What about those who turn around and say, but wait a minute, it's socialization, it gives kids an opportunity, perhaps they don't have